Hi, thanks for joining me on another episode of Why Not Go. I'm Maggie, and I appreciate everyone watching the videos and subscribing and commenting. As I've said before, I love the comments. I love the dialogue. Well, this video is another video on the Sex Pistols. And I have a Sex Pistols playlist now if anyone wants to see my other videos on this incredible band. Well, this video is all about their upcoming shows this month. As I'm sure everyone knows, August 13th, 14th, and 15th, they've added a third date. They're playing a charity for Bush Hall. That's a small concert venue in Shepherd's Bush. And of course, they don't have Lydon singing, so they recruited Frank Carter of the current band, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, who I didn't know at all. I will admit, it's considered a hardcore band, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about him, and but first I wanted to talk about what the Sex Pistols are doing with this charity event. I think it was organized by Paul Cook because he still lives in Shepherd's Bush, which I think is great. And Bush Hall, it's funny, after I did my research, I love the Sex Pistols, as you probably know by now, but when I did my research, it made me love them even more, because I think this is such a wonderful charity event that they're doing. It's to try to save Bush Hall, which was built in 1904. And it was originally a Victorian dance hall. It was built during the Victorian era. During World War II, it was a soup kitchen. And at various incarnations, it was a bingo hall. It used to be a rehearsal space for The Who, and which I find interesting. It was a snooker club for a while, and a social club. I think that was in the 80s and 90s. So it's been around a long time. It's sort of an institution, I think, in that area, and that's why Paul Cook and Steve Jones and Glen Matlock are trying to save it. And then in 2001, it was sort of revitalized and brought back as a live venue in 2001 with the current owners. As I said, it was built in 1904 and by a publisher. His name is W.C. Herndal. And it's interesting, I guess he was so wealthy, he had three daughters, and he gave them each a gift of their own dance hall. So kind of a nice dad. And this is the last surviving dance hall of the three dance halls that he built and gave to each of his daughters. Apparently this was his favorite dance hall, and he had a flat on the top floor. And I'll show a couple pictures here of Bush Hall, and he had a flat on the top floor, and apparently it was mainly occupied by his mistress. So it's an interesting story. But I love the fact it's an old English dance hall. It reminds me of, even though I'm not English, but I love the fact that they're trying to save a live, not just an old English dance hall, but a live London live music venue, a small music venue, which I suppose a lot of them are disappearing. When I was in London recently, I was in Soho, of course, and I used to work at the Astoria on Charing Cross Road in the 90s. And I'm not sure when the Astoria was built, but I think as a live venue it was around for a long time, and that's gone. They unfortunately, the building is gone, the old Astoria building. I worked there for seven and a half years behind the bar and in the box office. And it was a great music venue because I think every city needs those smaller venues for bands that are kind of up and coming and sort of between the sort of playing at the local pub stage to, you know, a bigger arena. And the smaller venues I think are so important. And so unfortunately the Astoria is gone, and also the Marquee is gone. I went to the Marquee when it was on Wardour Street, and also when it moved to Charing Cross Road. I think it closed down in the 90s, I can't remember. But the Marquee is gone. And also I used to go to the Limelight. I don't know if you all remember the Limelight. I believe it was on Shaftesbury Avenue, I'm not sure. But that's gone too. So hopefully their efforts to save Bush Hall will be successful. When I was doing research online, I came across an Evening Standard article on March 1st, and it said that the owners needed 42,000 pounds soon, within 4 months, or they would have to close. Apparently they have a loan that is coming due, and they can't renegotiate it, so that's too bad. So I hope they raise lots of money for Bush Hall at during these three concerts, or after these three concerts. Yeah, and as I said, I love the fact that they're trying to save an old English dance hall. It reminds me of the Kinks song "Come Dancing." I don't know if you've ever heard that song, but it's all about the destruction of the English dance halls. And I love the lyric when he says, "The day they knocked down the Palais, part of my childhood died, just died." And so hopefully this dance hall, former dance hall, now a live music venue, hopefully it can continue. I also read on their website that they take bookings for parties. It's $38.50 to book a party, $4,750 to book a wedding, $4,250 to book a Christmas party. So they don't just book live bands; they book parties and weddings. So I think that's great. I really hope that they're successful in raising money, and hopefully can save Bush Hall. As I said, I love the Sex Pistols, and this just makes me love them even more, that they're trying to save a dance hall live venue that's been around for 120 years in Shepherd's Bush. I wish I could go. I don't live in London. Unfortunately, I live in Florida. I had a few viewers on this channel that said that they tried to get tickets and they couldn't. One viewer said he had 10 browsers open on his computer and he still couldn't get a ticket. So I've learned that the capacity is 400. So it's a very small venue. So I can see why the Sex Pistols would sell out so quickly, and it would be hard to get a ticket. I couldn't find tickets. I was just curious. I was poking around on the internet. I couldn't find any tickets on StubHub, which resells tickets, but I did find tickets available. If any, this is just information, if anyone's interested, on Viagogo. That's a site for buying tickets. I think it's legitimate. I don't know. It seemed to get comments that it was legitimate. I'm not recommending it or anything, so be careful. But I did see tickets on Viagogo. The cheapest I found was $133, I think it was, for August 13th. Of course, that doesn't include fees and all that. So, but so for all the lucky people that got tickets, I wish I could be there. But I'm so glad that they're doing this for such a good cause, saving part of Shepherd's Bush history and saving part of English history, the old Victorian dance halls that were built around the turn of the century. So who's going to be on vocals? Well, it's not Lydon. It's going to be this guy, Frank Carter. And as I said earlier, I didn't really know much about him. He was born in 1984, so he's only 40. He's a lot younger than the other Sex Pistols. And he's from Hemel Hempstead. That's where he grew up. He had a band, I guess his first band was called Gallows, and he formed it after being influenced by the music of Black Flag and Minor Threat. He's also a tattoo artist. He opened up a tattoo shop, I think it's called Rose of Mercy, and that's in East London. And he says that he opened that right around the pandemic. So it was, he was already a singer at that point. Sorry, I dropped my papers. And then his next band was Pure Love in 2011 to 2014. And then 2015, his latest band is started, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. And apparently he met Steve Jones on Jonesy's Jukebox. So they called him to do this gig for charity. So that's neat. And I read online that he said he feels like a custodian of the band's material. So that's neat. And what else can I say about Frank Carter? He has a daughter, Mercy Rose Carter, and he used to be married, but he's divorced. And I guess Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, I guess they're real popular. So I'm going to show, in case no one knows what he sounds like singing, hopefully I can show this video without copyright infringement. This is Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes a few years ago, I think, where he's performing with his band. I believe it's at a festival. And then I'll show a video of him in his tattoo shop in East London.
We are sitting in my tattoo shop, which is in the heart of East London, on Hoxton Street. Yeah, and this is my shop, Rose of Mercy. You know, opening a tattoo shop has been a long dream of mine. But it's I won't lie. It's been. We signed the lease for this shop in March 2020, and then 2 weeks later we were closed for 8 months. So it has been difficult. It's been a challenge. In one way, it was really nice because it meant that I had some time to actually focus on the shop in a way that I might not have had we been touring. The other way, it was like I would come to work and tattoo and then sort of think, am I just a tattooer now forever? Like, is that like, am I still a rock star? You know, like, life is about balance, you know, and this allows me the balance to be as outward as I am with my music. If I was only outwards, I think I would have probably run out of energy for that a long time ago, you know, because you can't just be, you need fuel, you know, and this is fuel. That's what this is. I'm a punk rap renegade, a tattoo motherfucker dripping lost for a decade, and you are my punk rap queen. Champagne, please, flower, laser beam. You know, getting tattooed, I think, it's a really intimate experience. You know, you're trusting someone to change your body forever, and so like I have an immense amount of gratitude for everybody that comes to get tattooed by me, because that's my, you know, they become the canvas. It's like walking art. This could be considered like the entire songwriting the entirety of a life of a song. Yeah, because you watched me write the lyrics. This is the performance. And then every day afterwards is the legacy. He gets to listen to the song. But as the same with a song, once the performance is done, once it's written, it doesn't belong to me anymore. How can I quit you? No matter how I try. I'm only ever writing from my perspective, which is why it's...
All right, so that was Frank Carter. That's how he sounds. Yeah, like most tattoo artists, he has a lot of tattoos, a lot of tattoos. He's, you know, I don't know if he's going to be performing without his shirt on at the show. Not that that matters, I don't know. But yeah, he has a lot of tattoos. I personally think, and I'd love other people's take on this if they want to comment, I personally think that they don't need a singer. That it would be, as a fan, I think it would be more, I don't know, emotional or moving, for me anyway. If Steve and Glen did the vocals. I mean, Glen does Pretty Vacant in his solo shows, and he's got a very good voice. And obviously Pretty Vacant is his song. He wrote the lyrics as well as the music. And Steve has sang many times before, and he was the original singer of the Sex Pistols. I'm not saying they would be better than Lydon. Lydon is, you know, there's only one singer for the Sex Pistols, and that's John Lydon. But in absence of him, I think it would be better for the fans if they handled the vocals themselves. Maybe bring in a backup guitar player if Steve doesn't want to play, you know, guitar every second while he's singing. My fear of that show is that Frank Carter is he has a strong, you know, personality, and my fear of that show is that it's going to be a Frank Carter show, doing the Sex Pistols instead of the Sex Pistols themselves. I love, I've mentioned on this channel before, I love Joy Division, and Peter Hook now does Joy Division songs, and it's very moving. Obviously it's a different situation because Ian Curtis is not around and Lydon is still around, but watching you know, Peter Hook take over vocals that Ian Curtis once did, and he does a great job. And he brings in a backup bass player so he doesn't have to play bass all the time. It's a fantastic show, and I love Joy Division. I saw them many times, and I just think for a fan, it's better to keep it, if you can, just keep the original members doing the material. So that's my take. I'm wondering what other people might think, but I don't think they need Frank Carter. I think they could take over the vocals themselves, and I think it would actually be more special and more emotional for me anyway. But yeah, I'm envious of the people that are going to those shows. I think it's you know, it's going to be very you know, memorable. I don't think Steve and Paul and Glen have been on stage together doing those songs, doing the Sex Pistols songs. I don't think they've done that since 2008, their last tour with Lydon. So this is a big deal. and it just shows you, I know it's only 400 capacity, but it just shows you the intense desire for people to hear those songs, the songs we grew up with. You know, I mean, I've seen PIL many times, and I love PIL. I mean, they're great. I went to their first show in London in 1978. I think it was Boxing Day I went. But none of the members, and this is just the reality, including Lydon, have written anything like what those four members wrote together. That's just one of those magical moments that four people get together and bam, it just works. And you take one element out and it's like a recipe. It's not going to be the same. So I've been to many PIL concerts where I wish, I wish he'd do one Sex Pistols song, you know, even if it's just for an encore. But you know, it's I think it's one of the tragedies of you know, their rock history, and that's just the way it goes. But those are the songs that the fans want to hear. And I'm glad that Glen does Pretty Vacant. Maybe he does other Sex Pistols songs, but I know he does Pretty Vacant when he plays live, and I think that's neat. So I think they're doing the album, Never Mind the Bollocks. I'm trying to pronounce that better. I think they're doing Never Mind the Bollocks. Maybe they'll do some other songs, maybe some B-sides. I don't know. But I think they're going to run straight through the iconic album that we all love. So I'm glad that they're playing again, and I feel envious in a good way for all the fans that are going. I wish I could be there too. So anyway, before I get more emotional, this is, as I said, it's a very important month. Steve Jones, Paul Cook, and Glen Matlock are coming together for a very good cause, and they're going to play the songs that we love, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. So until the next time, thanks as always for watching. I'll be seeing you.